So, Lisa, let's get started. Seems to be just the two of us. It's okay. So, um, if there's anything in this moment from your day, could you just simply allow that to be here and allow it to release as best you can? And if there's any wanting to do anything with or about this, could you allow that to release as well? As best you can. And if there's any sense of identity with that, could you allow that to release? Could you allow it to resolve? And again, if there's anything from your day, could you allow that to be here? And you don't need to make this really big. Just a sense of it might be enough. And if there is any wanting to do anything with or about this, or any stuckness, any wanting to change it, could you allow it to release? Would you let it go as best you can? And if there is any sense of identity with any of this, could you allow that to release as well? Could you let it go as best you can? And then could you just simply allow the issue to dissolve as best you can? Could that issue be released? Would that be the case? Would that be released? And when? And then could you just simply notice or become aware of what is actually here and now? Could you get in touch or come to the awareness of that which you are? And one more time, if there is anything from the day or from your life in general that's coming to mind, could you allow that to be here? Whatever that is. And if there is wanting to change it, wanting to release it, wanting to understand it or figure it out, any kind of wanting to control or get rid of it, could you allow that to release? Could you let it go as best you can? And if there's any sense of identity with that, any sense that's personal about you or who you are, could you allow that to release as well? Could you let it go as best you can? And then could you allow the issue, whatever it was, to release, to dissolve? Would you, if you could? When? And then could you notice or become aware of or be the space-like awareness that you are as best you can? Would you become aware of that, which you are? And when? And there's a request. He's not in a group today for a particular release. It's not about what you know. So could you just simply welcome the illusion or the appearance of knowing something? The idea that there is something in mind that you know, for sure. And whatever that is, could you allow that to be here as best you can? And if there's underlying wanting for control, approval, security, separation, oneness, is that welcomed here now? Could you allow that to be here? And if there is any sense of identity with any of that, or any idea of you are the one who knows, could that be released? Could you let it go as best you can? And then could you just simply become aware of that space-like awareness that you are? That is all-knowing. It doesn't need to play around with any thought, yet allows for playing around with thought. And let's do one more round of the process. So, could you welcome any belief of it's about what you know? Any belief in the knowledge that you accumulated? And there's nothing wrong with accumulated knowledge, and you may use it whenever it's required to be used. And then could you welcome any wanting to do anything with or about this, any wanting to understand this, figure it out or release it, hold it close or get rid of it, as well as any underlying wanting for control, approval, security, separation, oneness. And then welcome to any sense that's personal about you or who you are, or that what you know is about you or who you are. And it makes up any identity about you. And then could you just simply let that go as best you can? And then could you notice the space-like awareness that you are, which is all-knowing. It doesn't need to play around with thinking all the time. It allows for thinking whenever required. And could you just simply find yourself as that? Could you allow yourself to express as that as best you can? And one last round of the process. Could you welcome any belief in or any sense of believing in that it is about what you know regarding anything of your life? It doesn't matter. What? And then could you allow yourself to be in touch with whatever that brings up inside? Could you allow it to be here as best you can? And if there's any wanting to do anything with, about, or against this, any wanting to figure it out, release it, change it, any resistance, any idea of stuckness, could you let go wanting to control of change, of wanting to change it in any way? As best you can. And if there's any sense of identity with any of that, could you allow that to release? And then could you let go, as best you can, of wanting to believe that again? Yet allow yourself to believe it whenever it's required to believe, or to use it. And then could you just simply notice or be aware of, or just be the space-like awareness that you are? That doesn't need thoughts in order to be. It allows for every thought and all thinking. Otherwise, it couldn't be there. And could you just simply be what you are? And could you just simply allow yourself to be what you are? And could you just simply allow yourself to be what you are as best you can? Okay, I open the floor to questions, sharing, and assistance. Any questions related to the Sedona method, or any sharing gains, or if you need any kind of assistance personally, let me know. I share a gain of mine in between. I feel absolutely relaxed today. It's very nice to do this with you. And yet the body is experiencing something like illness or something like that. But I released before, and I feel good enough to do the call. So that's my gain of this day. Red hearts. Okay. So if you have nothing in particular, I would check for another release. Maybe you have a wish for a release, any one of you, that I should do for the three of us? No wishes? Yet there's a wish. Hi.
Hi.
Mm.
What about on freedom?
That's on freedom.
Just on freedom?
Okay. Yes, we can
Yeah,
do that.
for everyone.
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm. You're welcome. Okay, everybody. So, what is something that you think or feel that's in the way between you and freedom or your freedom or your personal freedom or of letting go any kind of obstacle that's between you and your freedom? That may be ideas, or that may be sensations in the body, or that may be beliefs, or whatever that is for you. And then could you just simply allow yourself to be in touch with that? And you don't have it to make that big. There could be a sense of that, an idea of that, or just a feeling. Doesn't matter. It even doesn't have to make any kind of sense what's appearing. And then could you allow yourself to be in touch with that? Could you allow that to be here and to release as best you can? And then check to see if there's any underlying wanting, any wanting to control it in any way, any wanting approval or disapproval, any wanting security, safety, any wanting separation, oneness. And whatever that wanting is, or what color that wanting has, it might be more than one want. Could you allow yourself to let it go, to set it free as best you can? And if there's any wanting to do anything with or about this, any wanting to reject it or hold it close, could you let it go as best you can? Could you allow it to release? Would you allow it to release if you could? And when? And then could you just simply allow yourself to stretch beyond that? And then could you welcome or allow for that space-like awareness that you are? Could you notice the freedom that you are? Or even the freedom that you have? And could you allow that to expand a little bit? And then could you welcome any sense that freedom or that which you are is separate from you, that there are two. On the one end, there is that imaginary you, or I, and on the other end, there's freedom. And could you just simply welcome whatever that brings up inside? Could you allow that to be here? And then could you allow yourself to notice any wanting for control, approval, disapproval, security, safety, or separation, oneness? And then notice too any wanting to do anything with or about this or against it. And then notice too any sense that's personal about you or who you are. Any sense that you are the one who's separate from freedom, or that you experienced being separate from freedom. And then could you allow that to be as it was as best you can? And then could you allow for, or notice, or become aware of that space-like awareness, that freedom that you already are, already have been. That you never could be separate of. And then could you allow yourself to be as that? To expand as that? Even beyond the names or words or concepts of space-like awareness of freedom. Those concepts are just pointers to that. In one more round of the process, could you allow or welcome or remember any situation or memory in that or where you appear to be separate from freedom? And there was an idea of being a slave of the situation. Just simply feeling separate from truth or freedom. And whatever that brings up for you, or whatever there is or isn't, could you allow that to be here now? Could you welcome that as best you can? And then could you welcome too any underlying wanting, any wanting for control, approval, security, separation, any wanting for disapproval or insecurity or being out of control or oneness. And then could you welcome to any wanting to do anything with, about, or against this? Any wanting to get rid of it or to change it? Any wanting to change any stuck appearance? And then could you welcome to any sense that's personal about you or who you are? Or even impersonal about you or who you are? And then could you let that go as best you can? Could you allow that to dissolve? To just simply be as it was, as best you can. And then could you just simply allow yourself to become aware of, or notice, or just be the space-like awareness, or the freedom, or the love that you are. And even beyond those concepts. Would you just be that which all those concepts are pointing to? Which allows for them, but doesn't need any of them to be. And could there just be being? Would there just be being? When? And then could you allow that to be enough? Would you allow that to be enough? When? Okay. How are you now? Are you good?
Yeah, very quiet.
Okay, good. I think maybe that's a good place to stop or to end the call today and just remain as the quiet that we are. So, everybody, have a wonderful rest of the day and beyond. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.